Church and Homeboy, he's part of the Zach Brown Southern Ground Music and Food Festival.
Yes, he is.
Going to be there on Country Night,
yes.
I guess is what they're calling it.
That's right.
It should be a really interesting 3 days of music.
It's going to be a wonderful 3 days.
I heard somebody the other day talking about the iHeartRadio Music Festival, saying that, and it's one of the people who's performing, maybe Sting or somebody. I don't know who it was. They didn't identify him, and I couldn't quite pick out the voice, but it said, I don't think of music as rock music, country music, gospel music, hip-hop. So I think of music as music. I always have. I never liked the labels. Music is an expression of something, so it doesn't matter how you express it. And he said that's the great thing about the iHeartRadio Music Festival. It's everything. It's just music. And I thought, well, that's cool. I hadn't thought about it that way. And this thing with Zach Brown's pretty close to that. I mean, it's just
well, at least
it's just
Zach
music,
Brown,
man.
They're kind of dividing it up into days, though, so that you know that.
Well, Eric Church is on Sunday, and My Morning Jacket's on whatever, and
Trains on Saturday.
And Trains on Saturday. So, but I mean, they're all kind of.
They're just similar enough to
exactly. Going to be some chance to win coming up between 8 and 9 this morning. Now you talking to Ricky now. You over the weekend.
We went to the family reunion.
You did the extreme family event.
Oh, that's right.
That's the. We had the big event out at.
Y'all went over
the
to
beach house.
I thought you went over to see Don and Janet and that ugly dog.
No. This was her family.
Oh, I see. So you didn't.
They
take
do
Don
a family
and Janet
reunion.
with.
No, they didn't. They didn't come. Dad didn't leave the house much anymore. They do a family reunion 3 days, every Labor Day weekend out at a beach house out on Folly Beach, and it's about 60 people up in that place. There are
Did the people you rented from know about that?
Yeah, they knew. Bunk beds for everybody. Guys
What,
on
they
one
bring
side
them
of the
in?
house. No, this is the way this thing's set up. Guys on that side of the house, girls on that side of the house. I was in a room with.
Where were the kids?
They were in whatever gender they were. They were in those rooms
so you
as
have
well.
gender-specific rooms.
Yes.
On a family retreat.
Yes.
Okay.
It really, I think, I've never, obviously never was a Boy Scout, but I can only imagine that this is as close to camping that you can get without actually being outside. The sleeping arrangements were horrible.
Oh, you didn't like the bed?
Oh, man. I can hardly move today. It was great to get back into my bed last night, but, oh, man. And it was just, the sleeping arrangements were horrible.
Noisy, was it?
Yeah, and there was this one kid, apparently he has night terrors that nobody was told about, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, we just hear, no! And I go, what is that? What's going on?
Thought somebody got snakes out.
I guess so. And then there was this one of the adults just had this long, constant snore.
Jeez.
Then Bradley's up top, and he talks in his sleep anyway.
But that was just
and then I hear at one point, Jeffrey's his best friend, and I hear, hey, Jeffrey, come over here and look at this. He was having some dream about that cat that we have there at the house, he said later on. So it was just talking all every hour. There was something else that woke me up. And who knows what noises I was making when I was actually able to sleep.
Why did you stay?
Oh, it was family. We had a good time.
It sounds like you had a wonderful time.
Now, when you all woke up in the morning,
sounds like you couldn't wait to get out of there.
I'd have slept behind a rock on a beach. I really would have been back in time for breakfast. I would not have stayed in that under any circumstances. I don't care who was in the room. Now, when y'all woke up, what'd you do all day?
We ate a lot. We hung out at the beach all day. Every day was really nice at the beach over the weekend. There was just enough cloud cover, not a lot of breaking waves.
Everybody
it almost felt like
everybody rubbing everybody down with suntan oil and SPF 40 and stuff like that.
Like that. I rubbed Jen down. She rubbed me down. We didn't go outside of the immediate family for that.
So you didn't like rub her uncle down with SPF 50 or something?
No, there was no rubbing of the uncle.
Okay.
But they did games. They had a Scrabble tournament at one point. I stay away from anything that involves me having to correctly spell things. And then they play this game called Hand and Foot. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with a game it's a card game called Hand and Foot. Almost like Rummy, but you do it with like 8 decks of cards. I played that for a little while. A lot of food, a lot of sweet tea.
How many days was this?
It's 3 fun-filled days.
3 fun-filled days with her family.
With her family.
Yeah.
And then each night we had a different full-on game that involved the entire family. The first night it was The Price is Right. And then the second night it was Let's Make a Deal. And then, of course, they did their devotions. And it was
Who plans all
a fun
this?
weekend.
Who put all this together? Or do they? Because obviously they don't make it up as they go. This is all well laid out.
They do this every year?
Every year.
How long have they been doing this?
20 years.
Wow.
There's 9 siblings of the original that created the grandchildren, the children and the grandchildren. So
now there's 60 of you.
About 60 of us that head out there.
You have T-shirts?
Yes.
Did you get me one?
You did not.
Yes, they do. They have T-shirts printed. This year the theme was priceless.
They have a theme?
Yeah.
So does this take care of all your family stuff for the year? Are you caught up now and you got credit for the year? You don't have to mess around with that crowd anymore the rest of the year?
No, we'll have part of Thanksgiving because the other part will be with my family, and then they do like 8 days of Christmas. Not in a Hanukkah sort of way. It's just they have events planned for like 8 days starting Christmas Eve.
Each one of them keeps a different snake at the house, so they have to go.
No, they do during Christmas. They do a soup night, and then somebody they know has a hayride, and we take that out to the holiday festival of lights, and then they do cousins nights where just the cousins of the original 9 all get together for dinner. So that's something every night that week. Christmas Eve on.
Did you know you were getting into all this stuff when you got married?
I've always wanted a big
family. When y'all were hiding in the broom closet at school that day, did
she
really
keep any of that from you?
Did she tell you about all that?
No, I was excited about it. But see, before we got married, I wasn't allowed to spend the night out at the beach house.
Well, yeah, of course not.
So
even though you were sleeping with a bunch of men
in the men's room.
Well, I use the excuse I probably ought not to. But now that I'm, incensed,
family.
I have to stay out there.
Oh my God! Well, all I can say is I'm sorry for you. I really am. I cannot imagine more torture than what you just described.
Oh no, I loved it.
I can tell.
And a lot of food.
And did they have a lot of food?
We had fried chicken
yesterday. Was it catered? Or y'all have to fix all your food?
No, they fix all the food. Like Friday night, we had a chili cook-off, and then there was a big Sunday dinner after church, and it was just food was great.
Had fun, did you?
Only thing that was bad was the sleeping arrangements.
They weren't good.
And I've got to figure out how to make that bunk more comfortable next year. So I'm going to spend a good portion of the next year working on that.
The beach.
Just get you an air mattress.
Yeah, sleep on the beach.
Just go lay out there in the sand?
Well, get you a blanket or an air mattress or a
I'm not doing that.
Chair.
Blow them suckers up in 30 seconds with a pump and sleep on an air mattress.
No, I'm not doing that.
Well, fine then. Just sleep in there with a bunch of snoring, scratching old men.
How did Jen say the sleeping conditions were in the women's room?
Wasn't much better. We got a good night's sleep last night.
Yeah, I bet.
Weasel Total Traffic.